Now that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle had a successful launch last month, Todd Howard can finally head back home. I know you had fun, Todd, but it's time for other projects and time to put out the fire that's been over this company and its projects for a while now. While we don't expect any major news this year from BGS such as The Elder Scrolls 6, there's still some pretty good projects that might catch your attention, so why not start with the most potentially attention-grabbing one? I know it might be a little weird to see Nariva talk about Bethesda news and speculation and stuff, but hey, we're on a Nariva sandbox, we play with sand. Whatever the f that means. Let's start this video off with what I would argue is the biggest thing to come for Bethesda this year, and that is the Oblivion remake slash remaster being leaked. We've heard leaks for an Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake for a while now, ever since that court hearing when Microsoft was planning to buy Activision. This leak happened in September 2023, which to be honest, I thought it was older, but I guess time doesn't fly quite as fast as everyone thinks. And even at that time, it was rather outdated. I mean, it says here that ES6 would come out in 2024. I mean, we all know that didn't happen. These games are also in order of planned release, and the last title that came out in this list is Indiana Jones, meaning that if we follow the schedule, an Oblivion remaster would be next in line. Obviously, we take this whole thing with a grain of salt because Indiana Jones was supposed to come out in 2022 and Starfield in 2021, which we all know that didn't happen. Now, this list isn't the only reason why we're talking about an Oblivion remaster these days. It actually started with a leak on Reddit that has since been taken down, mentioning the Project Alter, which is the Oblivion remaster slash remake. The discussion for it being a full remake are still ongoing. It is currently done using a pairing system, so it means that the remaster is running using both the Unreal Engine 5 project and the old Oblivion one. For instance, new graphics are rendered in the UE5 project, but most of the gameplay, physics, etc. is done in the Oblivion one. This is likely to get official confirmation at the developer direct probably sometime later this January, which is honestly pretty crazy. And this Reddit leak happened quite a while ago, but there's been some other leaks that kind of are starting to confirm it. Now, an article posted on December 19 states, according to leaker Ecstasis, not only is the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remake real, but Xbox could announce it at an Xbox Direct event in January. Not only could it be announced next month, but the game could also be released sometime in 2025, which, whew, I thought 2025 was a big year already. This has also been confirmed by Nate Drake, saying it's definitely still in development and we'll see a release. They're referring to a comment from a user that said that they're doubtful that the Oblivion remake will release, same as the Fallout 3 one, which is pretty interesting that Nate Drake didn't comment on the Fallout 3 remake as well. I doubt we'll see both remasters slash remakes in the same year, but I guess I'm not gonna say that that couldn't happen. I guess. Then someone says, don't give me hope, and he follows with give hope that exists. I mean, it 100% does, and it will release. Now, if you're feeling a little bit of deja vu concerning Oblivion projects, it's probably because Skyblivion is also coming out in 2025 this year. This one would be a 100% ground up remake of Oblivion in the Skyrim engine that is 100% made by fans, for fans, and it will be for free, provided that you own both a copy of Skyrim and Oblivion Game of the Year Edition, which makes sense. Now there will be a lot of competition between the two projects, and I really feel like it will be a more amplified version of the Fallout 4 Next Gen update that happened last year. To refresh in your memory, the Fallout 4 Next Gen update came out right before a massive Fallout modding project called Fallout London would come out, and basically broke the whole thing. Again, when it comes to release dates, these coincidences keep happening, I'm just saying. If you were to ask me what I think Skyblivion would completely blow us away, since it's a massive volunteer project that will actually change up Oblivion with new dungeons, new gameplay, new quests and all of that. And while I'm pretty excited to see what Bethesda would make with the old Oblivion game and how they would potentially remaster it to a new 2025 version, I do think that it will still be closer to a remaster than it will be to a remake, so I think it's still gonna feel outdated. I mean, Bethesda games have always felt outdated no matter when they came out, but when it comes to Oblivion, especially being such an old game that's aged so poorly, I don't know. If you want my honest opinion, I do think the Skyblivion is still gonna destroy Bethesda's version of Oblivion this year. The only piece of information we have is that it's going to be the old Oblivion game with the UE5 graphics-ish. So the best guess we have would be a heavily modded version of Oblivion. So this is footage from YouTube channel Digital Dreams showcasing modded Oblivion. If I were to imagine what it would look like, it would be something like this. A lot can be said about this Oblivion remaster, so I'm sorry if I give you all a headache regarding it, but let's move on to the next point in today's video, which is the new Starfield DLC. here's what we know so far. We know that it will be called Starborn. There was a new trademark on the name and it makes total sense since it's still one of the most mysterious aspects of Starfield, the Starborn, which, spoilers, if you haven't played the main story of Starfield yet, they're essentially human beings who have passed through the Unity once you collected all the artifacts and were reborn in another parallel universe. There are a lot of questions that Starfield players still have, such as what are the artifacts? What is the being you see as yourself in the Unity? What are the artifacts available to grab, and who built the temples, and why do they keep trying with this game? Todd Howard also mentioned in the Mr. Matty Plays interview that he is planning to have annual expansions for at least the foreseeable future for Starfield. So while we might potentially expect another one next year, the only one that was confirmed was another expansion after Shattered Space, which would be the Starborn DLC.
Now, you mentioned annual expansions. So is that like the plan, like each year, because you mentioned year 2 Starfield, each year is going to have like a new story expansion? Because I won't spoil it for anyone listening, so don't worry, but Starfield kind of ends in a spot where I think there's a full circle moment, but there's also like, I have some questions. And I think Shattered Space with Andreja like is answering some questions. So is the idea to continue to answer those questions in continuous years with expansions, not to lock you guys in too hard? I know things change, but would you say you're aiming to do like an annual story expansion every year?
I would say we want to, more or less, yeah. How long that continues, hopefully a very long time, but we're planning for the one after this, so there will be another one. And I don't know that our goal is to answer every question. We sort of look at it and say, hey, what's a good angle? What do we want to add to the game as far as an experience or a tone or those kind of things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And since they probably already started working on Starborn before Shattered Space was completely destroyed by reviews and players, they're likely still planning to release that as well. Hopefully they will take criticism to heart and deliver on something better, but if I were to give my honest opinion, I probably wouldn't put any money on it. I like Starfield and I, to some extent, even like Shattered Space, but if I was to be very honest with myself and everybody else, they weren't really the best that Bethesda could do, especially Shattered Space, which was a major downgrade from the base game, I would say, at least. It just felt like the writing was very poor, it was boring, a lot of yapping, and for a $30 expansion, there wasn't much there either. While I would agree that it was a flop, I still enjoyed it because I thought it was pretty cozy, but I would much rather enjoy something that's actually good. In fact, I recently played through Far Harbor since I'm replaying Fallout 4, and that was so much better. I mean, just to see where they started, it's not really their start in Fallout 4, but just to see where they were once and where they are now in terms of quality, it really pains me to say that I don't know what to expect anymore, and not that I don't have hope, because hope will always be there. I'm still gonna be a Bethesda games fan. I'm just saying that it might be a little early to tell, but keep your expectations realistic. If we're talking Bethesda Softworks, there's also Doom the Dark Ages, which honestly looks insane. I haven't played Doom Eternal yet, but I do own it and I'm really excited to play it. But this year, actually, maybe in January, they will actually show the release date for this game. That is definitely something that I will not want to miss out. Also, there might be one other Bethesda Softworks published game this year. Since on this leaked timeline that we talked about previously, it does show that there's Project Kestrel on there as well, and we are not entirely sure what this is all about. While this one is not necessarily likely to come out this year, it might be showcased this year. We do know that ZeniMax is working on another MMO, so that might be it, but we're not entirely sure. Fallout 76 is a game. It most certainly is. Fallout 76 has had a pretty big resurgence last year as the Fallout TV show reignited the Fallout spark for a lot of people, including me. I mean, last year alone I played Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 76, and now I'm going through Fallout 4 again. And I'm not planning to stop anytime soon, you'll see in the next video. 76 had Skyline Valley in 2024, which was an apparently good update, and I haven't gotten that far into the game myself, but I might give it another go fairly soon. In March 2025, this game will start the year very strong with a playable ghoul race. Finally, we will be able to play as a ghoul in a Fallout game, which is not necessarily for me. I mean, I might sound like a shallow gamer, but I care a lot about my character customization. And without sounding too offensive, let's just say that a ghoul is not necessarily my vibe. It's still something extremely innovative, and the fact alone that we have the choice is honestly incredible. And who knows, maybe that will be one of the things that they will keep adding to future Fallout games, like they did with the settlement system, which is also something that we should expect for the next Fallout game. Because it feels like Bethesda always tries something new with one game, and then they bring that thing to the next installment, which happened with the settlement system from Fallout 4 to 76, Starfield, and you could even say that it started in Skyrim with the house building mechanic and the Heartfile DLC. So yeah, multiple races for Fallout. That's interesting. I guess we'll see where that goes. What we know about the playable ghoul is, according to a Game Rant article summarizing it, it will have exclusive buildable tools including ghoul perk cards and the feral ghoul and glow combat mechanics, unique story and world interactions, new quests and locations, and transforming into a ghoul will be available for both new and existing characters, and it will be reversible. So technically, you could maybe take advantage of some of the ghoul mechanics at some point and then go back to not being a ghoul. I didn't know that people could turn from ghoul to human in the Fallout universe, but I guess that's an aspect of the lore that they're experimenting with that we might be able to see that potentially in the Fallout TV show as well. But hey, maybe I'm just looking too far ahead. For 76, there will also be some seasonal events happening this year as they always do, but other major updates for this game have yet to be revealed. But with how strong the game is still going, I would expect to see more and more. There will be fishing in the summer. That's cool. And there are also some other things that are essentially confirmed for Fallout 76, but unless you're an active player of the game, the playable ghoul race is the coolest thing coming this year, as it's revealed for now. We probably won't hear about any other updates for a few more months, as we might hopefully get some other Fallout news this year. I don't have any proof on that other than the common sense that Microsoft cannot let this IP stall for too long. And speaking of this IP, there's also the Fallout TV show. Season 1 was a massive success last year, and Season 2 will likely not be ready for a 2025 release, as filming continues this year. It might be released in 2026, and it better, since a lot of shows have taken way too long to release a new season and the hype kinda died down. Stranger Things. Filming officially started in November last year, but on January 8th, earlier this week, we did get an update from Screen Rant saying Fallout Season 2 gets a new production update, confirming that filming has been delayed due to the California wildfires. Deadline now shares a disappointing update regarding Fallout Season 2, revealing that the show has had to push back the resumption of the filming after a holiday break. Season 2 doesn't yet have a firm release date, but going by the schedule for Season 1, a November 2024 production start means that the show could hit Prime Video at some point mid-2026. If the delay does end up being more than just a few days, the potential release window could certainly shift. Unfortunately, these events cannot really be predicted, and you can't really do much to prevent it, and you just gotta work around it. So, and taking things into perspective with how devastating the fire is, the Fallout TV show being delayed a few days might not be that significant. In other words, no one will really know when the show will come out, but it's probably most likely not gonna be this year. And for the big question, what about Elder Scrolls 6? The announcement for Elder Scrolls 6 is as old today as Skyrim was when the Elder Scrolls 6 teaser was revealed. Let that sink in. But what we know about the game so far is that it's currently in development and that is the next big BGS thing after Starfield, which came out last year. When Bethesda wrapped up Fallout 4 with Nuka World in 2016, that was the moment that the team started focusing on the next big project. And as we know, they're still not 100% finished with Starfield, as there's another DLC on the way and potentially other updates and DLCs maybe in the future. But Bethesda is a very different studio today than it was back then, and they do have multiple teams working on many projects. I mean, we got the Starfield DLC team, the Fallout 76 team, some mobile stuff, and I would expect the main team to be on Elder Scrolls 6 by now. Given how different the landscape is today compared to before, it's really hard to tell where the project is from the outside and when we could expect it. I've seen some people say that it will come out at some point in 2026, which honestly, I don't know, are you expecting Santa to be real as well? I myself wouldn't probably expect it before 2027, at the very least. I also think that the gap between Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 is not going to be as big as it was between 76 and Starfield, and that is mainly due to the pre-existing lore and the world of the Elder Scrolls compared to Starfield, because they have to develop way more things for Starfield than they probably will for the Elder Scrolls 6. But to keep everything simple and safe, I wouldn't expect anything, not even an announcement, an acknowledgement, or anything this year about The Elder Scrolls 6 from Bethesda, since they will still be focusing a lot on 76 and Starfield this year. Not to mention the potential Oblivion remaster, which is going to be a massive thing for them, and maybe even a Fallout 3 remaster / remake thing that will come out at some point as well. And to speculate even further, there might actually also be another potential Fallout project, not necessarily a game or not necessarily the same type of game, that might also be in the works as well and we don't know about, because there's simply no way that Microsoft will let this IP die down. I know Microsoft has been pretty lame with the management of their IPs and their game studios and everything, but I really feel like Fallout in itself has so much potential, and it's growing so much already, and it has the potential to grow even further, that there's no way, maybe I'm just hopeful, that they will let this one go. But if you have any thoughts or you think I missed something, please let me know in the comments below. And I want to thank you all for watching. A massive thank you to my Patreon supporters who continue to support more and more content here. Your name can also appear at the end of my videos, or you can be roasted to bits if you choose the Nazim Lover tier. Maybe not in this video, but the next one, we'll see. Other than that, here are some videos that might interest you, and you have a bit of time to click on one of those now. And leave me alone.